welcome traders to this video where we're going to be interviewing Bruce, who is now a level 2 trader. So yeah, where are you trading from in the world?
Okay, I'm in Pretoria in South Africa.
Okay. And how long have you been trading for?
On and off, most probably for about 10 years. But at one stage, I traded futures and options.
Okay.
Made a shitload of money and then dumped it all afterwards, like I think a lot of people have.
Right. Okay. So what markets have you been involved in mainly?
These days, I only trade the foreign markets, foreign exchange markets.
Right. Okay. And in terms of prop trading then, so like managing other people's capital, have you traded for other prop firms before?
No, I haven't. No.
Right. Okay. So just out of interest, why did you choose Forex Traders UK?
You guys, everybody who was on various portals who gets good reports tends to get reports before they've actually made any money. In other words, they send this beautiful, wonderful write-up about how quick it was to join ABC, but none of them made any money. And it was a sign-up process that was kind of good. Where is a little bit of research on your side? There are a couple of guys who actually were trading, prop money now, and we're still giving good reports. And I wanted to see guys who were actually trading, not guys who just want to be.
Right. Okay. Okay. So like, yeah. So I guess more reputation in terms of actual traders that are trading long term is what you were looking for. And just in general, what has your experience been like so far with your account? Has it been okay?
Yeah, it's been actually fantastic. I mean, one of the things that came across from you people, and whilst it's said on lots of sites, I don't think it's been met, is that, and I go online, I think it's a gentleman called Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just absolutely incredible. I don't know if he ever sleeps. Every question I've had a response within minutes. When I wanted to modify my account, he just said, no problem. I paid the difference. We modified my account. It's truly been seamless. But I think the other big difference for yourselves is, and I don't mean to knock your opposition, but I really feel that a lot of the opposition's rules and regulations are set up to set you up for failure, as opposed to help generate a prop trader who is actually going to grow. I think there are one or two other good firms out there. I'm not knocking them all, but some of the rules are so tight on one particular organization that I found out that no matter what I did trading through the older version of MT4, it was impossible for me to meet the rules because the way MT4 enters trades. So I had to then end up using their software to make it work. So I just binned it. If that was the way it was going to work, it's impossible to foresee what MT4 does behind the scenes. And I wasn't aware of that flaw in MT4. It has apparently been rectified. Your process, your rules are simple, your rules are honest, your drawdowns reasonable, and I'm happy. Cool.
It's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, when we set out to actually effectively start the prop firm roughly 1 year ago, we did look at all of the other prop firms and just the general rules that are in play, like you say, in terms of drawdown and a few other factors. But in terms of the actual accounts, we did want to try and make it as reasonable as possible. Obviously, you trade on a low risk program, so you only need to make 10%. But the good factor with us is that you get to scale the account much quicker than perhaps more complicated methods. If you need to make, say, for example, a consistent gain over a 4-month period, whereas with us, it's not like you're not set down to timescales. It's just we allow the trader to control their account however they like after level 2, which you're trading now. So
and I'm already 1% down.
Right. Yeah. Well, we can.
I tend to just trade smaller till I get back up again, and then you'll see if you look at my initial effort. I mean, it was very much around break even for quite a long time before the suddenly with some decent moves in currency. It's because I'm a slightly longer term trader by virtue of the fact I have a full-time job. So scalping is not an option for me. So. Just
bring the risk down slightly, and And yeah, just there's no time limit on level 2. The trader, as I said before, the trader controls when they get paid. You know, it can be any time as long as the profit made for the trader share is above £150. So the trader basically controls their account all the way up to the next level and beyond, basically. So what would you say your main trading style is then?
Look, I mean, I just got a top-down approach. You know, because I'm older and been around the block, I kind of want to understand why markets are moving. I want to have a basic understanding of, you know, hypothetically, why we should see the variation between, for instance, the dollar and the euro. You know, with the Fed talking about hiking, ECB unlikely this week to say they're hiking. Although I see the euro bounce this morning, so I was top down. And obviously then moving to sentiment, geopolitical events, obviously potentially Russia, Ukraine. And then from then I go to the charts and I basically look at fibs and pivot points to decide on entries.
Okay, so a lot of fundamentals take place then in your strategy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then when you say top down, what time frames are you looking at?
Look, again, I think it's because of my age. I love to read geopolitical news and where the world's going. So I have an open month. For instance, I've had quite a long-term dollar bias for a number of reasons, but it doesn't mean that I'm actually only long dollar. It just gives me a picture to start with.
Okay, cool. And would you say you've got a trading plan that you strictly follow, like a trading plan in place?
Yeah, very much so. And it's work. It's a work in progress. It never stops. I'm part of a group with a particular gentleman. I won't mention his name right now. I mean, I'm welcome to share it if you don't mind. But
I don't mind, yeah. Is it your mentor?
Yes, a guy called BEAT Nussbaumer. He's an ex-Goldman Sachs trader. He's traded there for 40 years. He's traded from the days when they didn't have PCs and they did everything on a calculator. A lot of learned recently is by virtue of him as a mentor. And what's fantastic about him is he runs his program on Slack. There's about 30 of us on the group. And I talk to Beat a lot about my trades, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, why am I wrong? And he's very big into talking about the crosses. So, you know, for instance, if we're dealing Aussie yen, he'll say, okay, but remember, it's Aussie dollar, dollar yen. So, you know, that's your cross. And that's how they used to trade before everything was on the platform. So we're ever looking at crosses and the impact. So, I mean, essentially, that's kind of what's made a difference.
Cool, yeah. And would you say there's a favorite instrument that you've traded so far, or you like to trade, or is it, how do you look at your watch list?
Pretty much. You know, I had this discussion with Beat last week. I think I see a lot in the retail market, people talking about a couple of things. They like to focus on a particular currency, whereas you'll see, obviously, I trade the crosses quite a bit. The other thing is, you know, a lot of guys say you must have a target of 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. And I'm not saying I'll enter a trade with a target of, you know, 1 to 0.5. But I feel the market will give you the money when it's ready. So if you can survive the downturns, the drawdowns, there will come those runs. I mean, you'll see towards the end of my period, just suddenly the market flowed my way, and that's when I made the money. But I had to be patient for 2.5 months.
Okay, so there's not a general sort of like order or sequence of sort of instruments you go through. It's just a case of like, how do you manage so many currency pairs, for example?
Obviously I looked at the majors. So once I got the 7 majors there, then instead of potentially trading, I'm going to say dollar CAD, I might look at something. Okay, well, what else can I trade the CAD with at the moment? I'm not happy with where the dollar's moving, and where's an opportunity in a cross. And that's very much something that my mentors taught me.
Okay. All right, let's have a look at some of the statistics then. So you placed 173 trades, which is quite a lot. It's good to see. Rather, because we do get some traders who come in and they'll place like 10 trades with all of the risk, you know, involved in those 10. So it's good to see more. And the best profit, much greater than the biggest loss, £128 win, £74 was the biggest loss. And that's just the average profits look good as well. profit factor above 1. So yeah, I mean, we can see winning trades are roughly half, or just over half, 56%. But with your risk to reward, by looking at this, it looks like you've got that on point. So what when you get into a trade then, so I'd imagine you've got entry requirements, have you? You need sort of like as long as it ticks this box, this box, this box, then you can get in, or
Okay,
how do you get into a trade?
Okay, so I have a very slightly different approach. So I'm going to use a hypothetical example.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to go long euro dollar.
Yeah.
I will look at where I think the worst case scenario is up front. So let's say that I'm going to use a hypothetical example. Let's say it's 100 pips above me.
Okay.
I then will break down my risk into 4. So
Yeah.
I'm going to use in simple numbers 0.25. I'll go short immediately where I am. I won't wait for pivot or an entry, but I will know where the pivots and fibs are above that. If it goes against me because I've got a strong belief in the dollar, I will take then the other 0.25% further up. So the dangers you're going to say for Bruce is that potentially martingale or stacking. The reality is that my risk gets reduced as I go up. And keep in mind, my very last entry, I have a maximum 4 entries, is mostly only 20 pips away from my stop loss. So my potential loss there is very, very small. Within that bracket of the 4 entries, the market might go in my favor and I might bank some of the money, and then it goes back the other way. I sell it again, then it moves my direction, I buy it again. So I might have one position I'm in for a week, but within that position, I've traded 3 or 4 times or 5 times within that sort of sphere, or that factor of 4.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And then when it comes to actually getting out of the trade, because I know some of these haven't hit the take profit. So do you have a sort of strategy behind that as well?
Yeah, look, when the market something changes, the dynamic changes, then I just pull the plug. I don't want to take the risk. Let me give you an example. I thought today that it was kind of a done deal that the Aussies were going to end taper their purchases, and I think that was very much factored into the market. So the initial move was in the Australian dollar was, it weakened slightly, and since then it's been strengthening. And I was surprised that, because I really thought that everything had been said, had been factored in, and Governor Lowe still gave quite a few, made quite a few negative comments about how we'll delay interest rates. We're going to keep sure that the market's correctly funded. We won't allow there to be issues. So I just was completely wrong in my assumptions, and I just basically canned all but one trade.
Okay. And obviously you made it to level 2 now, so you've shown that you can sustain a decent profitable period. What would you say to, because we've got lots, obviously the nature of the market, especially in Forex, is that many traders will unfortunately lose or experience drawdown and then not know how to handle that. What would you say to other traders perhaps joining Forex Traders UK on a prop account? What would you say the biggest factor of growing an account is?
Patience, and patience. As I say, you can see I'm 1% down today, and I don't like drawdowns. It's as simple as that. So all I do from now, you'll see my next trades, I'll cut my size till I understand why I'm on the wrong side of the curve, and then I'll remain very, very small until I feel that some dynamic has changed. You will notice I vary my risk slightly depending on how the market's moving, and you do just get days where the market just suddenly moves strong in your favor, and if you're watching it, you can continue with it. But biggest, I think, all of us, including myself historically, patience and risk.
Yeah. Okay. Patience and risk. Okay. And what about more specifically your long-term goals in trading, prop trading? Is it to continue to grow prop accounts, or is it to potentially have a professional trading career yourself, or where do you see trading for yourself going?
I got to retire in a few years' time, and I cannot imagine myself sitting tending the garden or weeding the grass or something like that. I've always had a passion for the markets. I follow it daily. I subscribe to a lot of news events. So ideally, I would like to build the prop into something worthwhile. But I'm also very aware of how difficult it is, and I think the stats of maybe 1 or 2% who last longer than 3 years is some of the things I've read. So I'd be arrogant for me to say I'm going to be one of the 1 or 2% in the world. So it's going to be work in progress.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and that's what trading is. In the reality of it, is more of a long-term process, or at least longer than a lot of people think. Yeah. Just like anything, any field really, you just need so many hours involved. I think this is your latest account, right? So yeah, you said 1% down currently, and yeah, obviously just keep doing what you're doing on the previous account. Like obviously, try and make the same trades, etc. And I think you even experienced a slight bit of drawdown at the start of your level 1 account, before going sideways, going into a little bit more drawdown, and then, as you say, at the very end, sort of peaking up. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about the drawdown, but yeah, always remember, it is 5%, which can be quite tight. But if you bring the risk down per trade, some of the traders on level 2, 3, 4 beyond, they'll actually even bring that risk down like 0.2%, 0.15% even, depending on where they are in drawdown, and just try and make that bit of buffer. As soon as you can get, say, 2, maybe even 3% up, then you've got a bit to play with then, haven't you? You can go in at 0.5% or even up to attack the 1% on some of those more aggressive trades.
Just for interest, those trades were all 0.2 or 0.1.
Right. Okay. What, on your level 2?
Yeah.
So I mean, risk is very small compared to the account size, and definitely keep doing that. I think if you keep continuing that way and you do similar performance as your level 1 account, then I'm pretty sure we'll be on level 3 soon, and take it from there.
No, thanks very much.
Well, I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. I think I got a good understanding of your trading style. Well, thank you for your time, Bruce, and I hope the level 2 account goes well, and we'll be having a level 3 interview hopefully soon.
Thanks very much.
All right, cheers, Bruce. And you, Bruce. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.